at some quick tips and tricks to use when you're reading with your child. Now in the classroom, we would call this time our guided reading time. At home, it is going to look a little different, but here are a few things to keep in mind while you are reading. The first thing you want to do is take a book walk. What that means is preview the book. Look at the front cover, make some predictions. Who do you think those characters are? Kind of flip through and look at the picture so you notice what's going to happen during the book. This is also a really good time for you to show some vocabulary words or some words that might cause some difficulty while reading. A lot of times teachers will go ahead and pull these words out maybe on a note card or a whiteboard and practice saying that word and chunking it into little pieces. We call that segmenting, chunking it into little pieces so that students are familiar with that word before they're trying to read it in a text. The next thing to keep in mind is to use strategies while you're reading. Teachers typically don't make it a practice of just telling students what a word is. We like them to use a few strategies like sounding the word out, looking at picture clues, continuing on and coming back and seeing what word would make sense there, and then looking at the beginning sounds. Well, does that word fit? Sometimes you might have to go ahead and tell them the word, but we really want students to try and solve it on their own. Now, if they fill in a word, let's say the sentence is, I see the ball, and they read, I see a ball, it hasn't affected their meaning at all. It's best to not interrupt their fluency and kill their confidence. Wait until the end of the book. Come back and say, now, when you read this, you said, I see a ball. Can you go back and try that again? Just a quick tip. Another thing is to ask questions and make predictions all throughout the book. It's a really good idea before you've begun reading, even before you start your book walk, looking just at the front cover and having students make predictions and inferences on what do they think is going to happen. Ask some questions. Don't be afraid to just stop in the middle of the book and talk about what they've read so far. This will really help with their comprehension and help make sure that they understand what they've read so far. Of course, make sure you're asking lots of questions at the end. Not simple yes, no questions. We want those open-ended, those deep questions. Why do you think the author did this? Why was the character feeling like this? How did the character change throughout the book? Different things like that. What was the problem? What was the solution? What's a different solution that they could have tried? And the last thing that's a really good thing to do is have your student write about the book afterwards. This will help those writing skills that we are always trying to improve. They can write a little something about what happened in the book, maybe retell the story, what happened in the beginning, the middle, the end, and make sure during this time that they are understanding what the book was saying, but still using those writing conventions that we're still learning. I hope these help.